As Justin said, my name is Liz. I'm a deacon in the Diocese of California, hoping to be ordained priest in December. And during the week, I serve as the Director of Chaplaincy Services for the county jails in Santa Clara County. I live here in Palo Alto with my husband and my youngest son. I have two daughters, one in Brooklyn, one at college in Cleveland. I have two dogs who I hope will stay quiet, though they're at my feet right now. And in case you're wondering, this accent, I grew up in Scotland, in Edinburgh, before I moved here with my husband. He had a work placement in Silicon Valley for 2 years maximum, they said, and that was in 1996. So here we are. I'm glad to be with you. The passages today in our lectionary, I think, weave a story that we can all find ourselves in. Apart from the slight irony that the burning bush is in this week's lectionary, and I'm glad the fires are dying down, though many people suffering still. I think it remains a story that speaks deeply to me as I am a person trying to find myself and find God. So today, I hope to tell the story of the people in the lectionary, weaving together Moses with Peter, and also with some of the incarcerated people that I know and work with in the jails. And I hope that as we form that picture, we will each find ourselves somewhere in there. Act 1, loss and gain. In our story today, Moses had really lost himself. We meet him at a low point in his life. He had had to let go of his privilege. He had fled from Egypt, where he was a distinguished member of the royal household, after he saw a race-based beating and reacted with violence, killing an Egyptian, hiding the body, and then running away to avoid capture. So Moses escaped and collapsed in the desert by a well. And while wandering that desert, he met a young woman and fell in love, a woman from a foreign tribe. Her father was a priest from a foreign tradition to Moses, and Moses ends up tending the priest's sheep in the desert, facing all of his issues, his anger, alone. Moses had no way forward, no discernible career path, no way back to his old life of privilege and safety. He was a prince, now a sheep herder. Peter. Well, Peter thought he was on top of the world. He was in the inner circle of a powerful, popular new ministry with a charismatic figure at its center, and Peter was one of that person's best friends. And in the story just before today, Peter had correctly identified Jesus as the Messiah for the first time. And Jesus praised Peter to heaven and back. He gave him the name Peter, meaning rock, declared that Peter was the rock on which he would build his whole church forever. Jesus gave Peter authority in heaven and earth, and even the keys to the kingdom of heaven. So Peter really was the top dog. But those who want to save their life, Jesus says, will lose it. And those who lose their life will find it. The people I work with in the county jail have almost always lost everything, a little like Moses, often coming from places where they have seen and inflicted violence. They then get stuck in our so-called criminal justice system, losing their freedom, their house, their job, their family, their pride, and the future they thought they had. Maybe some of you have been arrested. I have heard that it's one of those desert experiences for sure. So today I want to introduce you to some of the incarcerated people with whom I work. Firstly, Jacob, someone I met at the writing group that our church runs in the jail. Jacob's been in and out of the juvenile and adult jails all his life. He's now 35. And when I met him, he had just been sentenced to 26 years in state prison, which is where he is now today. And when he started writing in the jail, he discovered some pain, deep pain inside of him. But he didn't run away from it. He sat with it, faced it in the desert of our jail. And here's a poem of his called Hiding. Hiding. All my life I've been hiding, scared to let anyone see me crying, quick to get angry to hide my real feelings, learned a way of life that was misleading. Never cry, never trust, love is for cowards, is what I was told, and it shaped my mind. Of a boy into a messed up man. Hiding was easy, but now real life takes hold. Because of the way I've lived life, I'm alone. Too late to go back, I stand on my own. I am at a crossroad, time to be bold. I will open myself up, stop being scared of the unknown. The old cycle is dead. Come out of hiding. Ready for whatever life throws at me, I stand here, a new man who is smiling, no more afraid of the unknown. The incredible thing for me as I work in the jail is that I daily interact with people who, like Jacob, have lost so much but don't run away from it, and actually find that God is powerfully present in the desert. I wonder if there is a loss that we are afraid of, afraid to face and explore in the desert, that God might actually be powerfully present in. Act 2, Holy Ground. Back to Moses, who's lost so much, finding himself in the desert. And the reading tells us that he takes his father-in-law's flock of sheep out into the deep wilderness on a long trip, something that probably took several weeks. And the privileged, angry murderer Moses is spending time alone in the desert. Then one day, maybe because he had learned to pay attention, to slow down and not rush away and not rush past, he sees a bush on fire. It's not something that's totally unusual in the desert of Midian, but something catches his eye about this one. Yes, the bush was on fire, but it was not being destroyed. That was not usual. So Moses pauses, turns and gazes, and discovers that the presence of God is there. Discovers that the dusty desert he was toiling through is in fact holy, sacred ground. It would have been so easy to miss. So easy to assume that this place had nothing of worth. So easy to rush back to the comfort of old ways and miss the sacred space, the holy encounter. Peter, on the other hand, on top of the world and swimming along. But then Jesus says something that Peter does not want to hear. In the midst of success and praise and accolades, Jesus starts to talk about how he must actually undergo a trial, much suffering, fall from fame and popularity, and even be killed by the people that now laud him. Absolutely not, Jesus, that must never happen. You're wrong, cries Peter, rushing past this burning bush. The first mention of Jesus, of the great salvation plan, the cross and resurrection. But Peter, in his desire to run away from this uncomfortable prospect, rushes by it, denying that anything that reeks of pain and loss could be of God. so easy to miss. To assume this place had nothing of worth, so easy to rush back to the comfort of an old way and miss the sacred space, the holy encounter. Get behind me, Satan. Yours is a human way and not of God. In God's way, those who lose will gain, and those who try to hold on to what they have will lose. What if places like the jail, the places of loss, of suffering and injustice in our communities and our lives, what if they are actually not places to rush from and by, but actually burning bushes, holy ground, and moments of encounter with the divine? This poem I want to share was written by Anton in a workshop in the jail about bringing hope into desolate places. It was written by him at a time where he was desolate, but working on calling hope alive in his life. It's called I Hope. I hope that I can take steps forward when I have the option of moving backwards. I hope that I can forgive myself so that my past remains history and my future can be bright. I bring into being my hope that I can be worthwhile. I bring into being my hope that I can be loved. I wonder today what places, what issues, what relationships in our lives that we try to rush past and rush away from, the painful ones, may in fact be holy ground where a holy encounter is waiting for us. Final act, Act 3, a call. A final connection with Moses as he was able to dwell in the wilderness and loss without running away, as he was able to notice and pause to discover the presence of God. God calls Moses to be part of relieving the misery of God's people, to be part of bringing freedom to others, even as Moses was just discovering his own freedom. God calls Moses to extend his own journey of healing to the people who are still suffering. As we face our own stuff, whatever it is, as we resist the urge to run away from it and allow ourselves to dwell in the desert and find holy ground, we will hear the call of God to go to the places of suffering, to take the process of healing that we are in and share it, to lose and release our own lives, and find that as we do so, we encounter the great I am of God in a profound, unique way. But then there's Peter. Oh, Peter, I do resonate with you. Peter, I too do not want to intentionally go towards places of death or pain or betrayal, where loss is inevitable. But Peter, I think you missed that Jesus also mentioned resurrection. I think you did, and I know it's so easy to focus on the loss and the pain and run away from it and forget that in God's hands, death always leads to new life. So easy to forget if we truly find the resurrection life, we actually have to lose our life first. And holding on too tight to the comforts of life always result in losing them. That temptation to hold on to comfort and resist the path of pain is of Satan, and we must, Peter, put it behind us. For us this morning, I know some of us are facing times or choices to remain safe hidden in our cocoons of privilege, or a choice to risk towards moving towards the desert. For me personally, as I choose to be with those in jail, I find myself on holy ground, in sacred moments every day where the people there who are living there teach me what it is to let go and allow God to speak a new call in our lives. Even as a parent at home, when my mostly adult children are hurt or hurtful, or go in directions that I don't think are good, if I try and rush in and rush past their pain, saying, oh, you're going to be fine, or redirect them into a path that I think is good for them, I almost inevitably lose the opportunity to be on holy ground with them and listen for the new call that God has for them and for me. What might God be calling us to? Where might God, like Moses, be asking us to use the pain, the process, the healing that you've had in your life to bring comfort and freedom to others, to dwell on holy ground and release our grip on life just a little bit? I want to end with a blessing written by Ricardo that he wanted me to use when I spoke about the jail to bless others. Ricardo lost a lot in his life and plummeted the depths of despair in jail, but found that God was holding him. And Ricardo learned to hold on to God. And he wanted to share that blessing with you all. So this is called Hold On. Hold on to yourself even when it's hard. Hold on, God is with you even if you can't see. Hold on, help is out there even if you don't believe. Hold on, you're better than before even when you can't see. Hold on, love is out there even when it hurts so. Amen.